Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today as we give another update to the staff on package. Today, we'll be continuing our public outreach campaign series. Today's staff update number 3, 14th of April 2021, and today we'll be discussing about the funding. The objective of this series is to ensure that we have stakeholder engagement. We have enough information here that we can give enough updates to the staff on what's going on with the project. We also want to highlight the upcoming improvements for the project, and we also want to create some ambassadors. The more information you guys have, the more you can talk about the project, the more you can give clarity also to those persons out there that may not have enough information on the project. But today, I'm going to give you some clarity around the funding of the project. Remember, this is our internal feed. It's a meeting. We have done this meeting this way so that at the end, you guys can log on, open your mics, ask questions, pose your concerns, and we will try our utmost to be able to respond to those questions. We also increasing our communication. I believe a couple of you received some texts yesterday, some emails, where we sent you to our website. We sent you to our YouTube channel, where you were able to see some of the previous recordings. You were also able to see the rendering of the artist impression for the building. We are going to be, those links will remain active, so you can always go back and take a look. This is not a public YouTube, so it's not like people can surf to it, but the files, the link is shareable, and you can have the opportunity to go back and look at it anytime you want to. As we also want to remind you, the GRM is on our website, the grievance redress mechanism. If there's any concerns, any questions, any objections on what's going on, anyone can go to the ssmairport.com construction site page and file your grievances. But enough, let's move on. Our next meeting, I just want to put, for you all to put it in the agenda from now, May 5th. We at the PMU, we're going to try our utmost to make sure that we send out something early enough to let you know what the topic is going to be. But May 5th is going to be the next one. And we have a couple of ideas that we're looking at also giving input on. We are going to be talking about the different levels because since we are redoing the entire terminal, we have an opportunity to make changes on the different levels. So we can explain you all the changes and update you on how we're going to be working within the new reconstructed terminal. The equipment packages is also a bit of a hazy area. We're going to be able to jump into each one of those equipment packages and give a lot more information on these. And we do have environmental and social safeguards within the project. And it's good that we update you and give you some information on how those apply to the project. So package 2, we had some pre-works that needed to be carried out. The pre-works are now completed. We had the sprinkler system, as you all remember. We started that back in November of 2020. They re-energized all of the fire sprinklers within the building that was not part of package one. They are still in the building. As you can see, some small works to be carried out. Substantial completion, we can consider it. They're doing some paint work on the sprinklers to make sure they look a little bit better, but we can almost say that they're complete with their job. And the mold remediation, waste disposal, you may realize that the containers up front are gone, all of the bags are gone, and we will be starting our tours in the building soon, where you also will see that a lot of the material that was in the building is gone. This was carried out by AAR, the international company, who started back in October, and they ended about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago they're completed. They were using some local contractors, Tidal Wave, All American Caribbean AC, as well as Caribbean general contractors. All of these local contractors really did a wonderful job, and AAR seemed like they were very happy that they were able to fall on these local contractors to help them with this particular project. So all of the pre-works have been completed, and we're now moving forward to package 2. Today, I thought it was important that we kind of explain to you how the monies are coming to the airport and what are they allocated for. We've been hearing a lot of comments from other persons outside of the airport that spoke about a lot of the monies that were going to be spent for this project. And by them saying that in the media, in the different social medias, as well as on radios, it kind of muddied exactly how the monies are being used and how much money we actually got. So I thought it was important to sit down and at least paint this picture clearly so that all of us here at the airport have a clear understanding of the funding for the project, as well as how the monies will be used. We all recall 2017, the hurricane. The government of the Netherlands, they actually pledged $553 million to the island of St. Maarten. This was all done in a grant. But they did not want the money to come directly to the island, and then they had no control on how it was going to be spent. So they brought in the World Bank. They actually got in contact with the World Bank of the Caribbean, and they created something called the St. Maarten Recovery, Reconstruction, and Resiliency Trust Fund. This was established in April 2018. This trust fund was actually something the government was supposed to use to build back St. Maarten after the hurricane. So that trust fund went to the government of St. Maarten, which is the Council of Ministers. And then they created something called the NRPB, the National Recovery Program Bureau, for them to be able to look at that money and do the recovery projects. As you all can recall, there's a couple of projects with the schools. The harbor is one of them right now. There was some buildings that were being built, homes were being rebuilt. All of this is being done by this Recovery, Reconstruction, and Resilience Trust Fund. They actually have a steering committee together. I think Marcel Guns is one of them, is one of the steering committee members, along with someone from the government of the Netherlands, as well as someone from the World Bank. with the NRPB again responsible for carrying out all of those projects. The airport was not supposed to get any money from any of this trust fund because we had an insurance. We are a private entity, we had our insurance together, and we were expecting to get our insurance money to be able to do any repairs to the terminal and become operational again. But as we all know, that did not manifest because we went into arbitration with Nagico. While that was happening, we were spending a lot of money for us to be able to put down our tents, put on the pavilions, and we needed to figure out how were we going to be able to reconstruct, because even the money that we were going to get back from the insurance was not our money. It was the bondholders, because we had taken out a loan in 2013 and we needed to be able to pay back that loan. So that money was the bondholders' monies. So at that point, the airport went to government of St. Martin and we asked them for if we could tap into that trust fund. And with lobbying with the government of St. Martin, you all recall we had the minister, prime minister at the time was Leona Marling, along with the Minister of Finance, Perry Halings. They were able to discuss this with the steering committee, and the airport was able to get a grant of $72 million out of that money. So the trust fund went to the island of St. Martin, 72 million grant for the project at the airport. While this was happening, the European Investment Bank also indicated that they would participate, and they gave $50 million as well to the government of St. Martin for the reconstruction of the airport. So if you want to look at that correctly, $50 million from the European Investment Bank and 72 million from the government of the Netherlands via the trust fund was all given to the island of St. Martin, the government of St. Martin, who at that point gave that money to the airport. So $122 million. But they did not give us it as a grant and a loan. They consolidated the 50 million and the 72 million, making it 122 million, into a loan, which was then given to the airport as an on-lending. So we have a loan from the government of the St. Martin. This funds is also again being implemented by the National Recovery Program Bureau, because they are responsible for all funds that come from the trust fund. Where does the World Bank come into this now? The World Bank was the one who worked with the government of the Netherlands to set up this trust fund. They're responsible for all of the monies that is in the trust fund. So they are managing all the processes included in that, to ensure that the monies that was used out of the trust fund goes where it's supposed to go. So they are looking at the government of St. Martin, they're looking at the NRPB, and as extension, they're also looking at the airport. We need to follow their program for us to be able to spend any monies from here. But while this was happening, and we were asking for this 122, the airport also needed to put in their own contribution, $7 million. This shows our commitment to the project. It showed that we were ready to move forward, and we were also going to be able to, it is not just we getting free money, but we also are committed to the project. So for the airport reconstruction, the funding that we received that is managed by the World Bank is $129 million. $129 million. Let me break down how that $129 million is set up now. We have four components that splits up that 129 million. Component number one is $50 million from the World Bank, the one that's being managed by the World Bank, $50 million from the European Investment Bank, and the $7 million I just spoke about that the airport also had to contribute. That gave us a 107. But it's important that we understand what our 107 is used for. It is only used for the reconstruction of the terminal. It cannot be used for anything else. Only the reconstruction of the terminal building. So package 2 plus the associated equipment packages. As you all recall, on the 23rd of March, we had our bid opening. During that time, we received 4 bids from 4 international contractors. The bids, as you also probably read the press release that was sent out, they range from 70 million up to 99 million. So if we would sign with the lowest one of those bids, 70 million, that means out of the 107, we'll have $37 million left for the equipment packages, passenger board and bridges, baggage handling system, security screening, self-service bag drop, the digital signage, the whole room seating, the fixtures, furniture, and appliances, as well as automated border control. Well, I need to take this one out because this is not being financed by the World Bank. But this is something that we are also looking at financing. I need to update this slide to ensure that this is not here the next time. So these 7 equipment packages would be part of that 137 should we be able to sign with the lowest bidder. Worst case scenario, we need to sign with the highest bidder, the 99 million. That means we only have $8 million will be left for the equipment packages. And that's where we were also discussing with the steering committee of the trust fund. That is a possibility we may need additional funding from them to be able to cover these. That discussion is still ongoing, so I won't go too much into that. Now that I've explained to you component 1, which is only used for the reconstruction of the terminal building, that gives us the 107 that we're talking about. Component 2 is used for capacity building and project management. $500,000 was used for that. Here is where we use stuff to pay stuff like the environmental specialists. We're using this to pay for our audit because all monies that are spent on this project will be audited. We have an independent auditor would come in and look at all of the funds that are spent and make sure, to ensure that it's spent in the correct way, what that money is being spent for. Component 2, because we're working with the NRPB, there's a good possibility they may need some specialists to come in to help with whatever. And the World Bank also ensured that they had $500,000 available should they need to do something that is outside of our capacity, but they need to be able to help us with the project moving forward. Component 4 was actually something when I first heard it, I didn't think it was necessary. This was liquidity support for the operating expenses. The World Bank, in the discussions with the steering committee, they also indicated that it's a good possibility with the hurricane that we may still need additional operating funding to be able to go over the hurdles because we were not sure how quick the business was going to come back to the airport. So they put $21 million in a pot, and we would need to demonstrate we need to use that money before they would allow us to touch that money. We all know what happened last year. COVID-19 came in, the coronavirus pandemic happened, and for about 3 months, we had no flights, and it took about 6 months before we really started to be around 15% of capacity. During that time, the airport was very, very happy that this component 4 was available because we tapped into it. We've used around 10 million of this right now to be able to pay salaries as well as to pay our utilities. So that's where this component 4 of the $129 million is being spent. So we do a quick breakdown again. We have 107 million that is used for reconstruction only, 500,000 for capacity building, 500,000 for capacity building from the NRPB if we need their assistance on anything, and another 21 million which is used for only us as airport for us to be able to pay salaries or utilities should we need it. This may sound clear, but there's still some more components to it. As I mentioned, 50 million EIB, 50 million World Bank, PJIAE contribution, the 107, which makes up component 1. But you've probably also heard where people are talking about another $131 million that the airport is still spending. And it's a confusion between the 129 and the 131. I just explained what the 129 is. The 131 now is the airport outside of the money that we're receiving from the trust fund, EIB, at World Bank, whatever way I just explained. There's an additional $24 million that the airport has taken out of our pockets, out of the money we receive from the bondholders, the money that we receive from the insurance, the money that we're using from our daily operations. We're using money now to be able to pay for some of the pre-works. I explained about the sprinkler system repairs, the mold remediation, the demolition and the waste disposal. The airport had to pay for that themselves. We had to pay for that ourselves. This was not used from any of the World Bank's money. The design for package 1, package 2, package 1A, all of these, as well as some support, all of this needs to be paid for by the airport. Third-party support, we had a lot of different, I won't use the word consultants, but a lot of legal firms that needed to jump in to assist us with different support. They were also going to be paid out of the airport pocket. The supervising engineer who's going to come down and monitor all of the project, manage the whole project. These people are also paid from the airport's pockets. The airport took out something called a construction all risk. The construction all risk is the insurance we took out during the construction of the terminal, and it was cheaper that we did it than to have the package 1 contractor, the roof contractor, the package 2 contractor, all of the other equipment package. Instead of each one of them taking up separate small car insurance, construction all risk, it was easier for the airport to bundle all of them into one, get a better price, and be able to cover all of those projects, which also give the suppliers as well as the contractors the opportunity to lower their cost when they gave us their quotations. There's also a couple of project overheads. I mean, we do have a couple of consultants working on the project. There's a lot of um, loose stuff that may come up, so we also put a small budget for that. And taking all of this additional costs together, we went to the supervisory board, we got an approval for $24 million to be able to spend on all of these projects. So there's the 129 that comes from the World Bank EIB, and then there's 131, which has $24 million from airports pockets. I'm hoping that that was clarified a lot of misunderstandings that we may have had with the funding for the project. So today, like I said, we have the floor open that we're going to allow persons to unmute their mic and ask certain questions. Any concerns that you have, any ideas that you want to share with us, you can do it at this point. Because the more we understand, the more we can work on mitigating any of the issues as we go along. Thank you. I will give the opportunity for anyone who wants to unmute their mic and ask any questions. Was this presentation clear enough on how the funding is being received, as well as how we plan on spending the money?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mito.
Not all at the same time.
You hear me?
I'm very happy to see that I have 28 of my colleagues that is on right now to listen to how we're moving forward at the project at this point. Duncan, let me call on
Yep.
you.
You're hearing me?
Is that clear?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
I can hear you, Duncan. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just making sure because I said good morning. I
Do we have everybody's mic muted?
I greeted Mito, but I didn't get any greetings back, so I figured nobody heard me. Yeah, the financial part of it was very clear.
Miguel, is there anything you want to let the staff know about the?
I think Mito is not hearing me.
Understand is my audio is a problem. Let me check my devices. Yes, it was me. Duncan, can you say again?
Yeah, you can hear me now, Mito?
Yes, my bad.
Okay.
It was something on
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, thought I was speaking to myself for a minute there.
Yeah, you were speaking.
But others were hearing me, so that's fine. I think the financial aspect was quite clear, and obviously we've seen as management team we've seen different presentations over the past year and a half with regards to the finances, especially with when it pertains to the rebuilding of our airport. So it was pretty clear for me. Different steps. The what was also made clear for me, because I thought all of the equipment packages were included in the initial bidding, but which it's not. So that still has to come out after the bid is awarded to whichever vendor we're going with or whichever contractor we're going with. So that is also clear to me now. So that would have actually been one of the questions, but I'm glad you covered that. So that's it was pretty clear for me. So that's basically all I need to say.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have a question?
Me to this Penang.
Hey, Manuel.
Good man, what's up? On component number 4, you said you had, I think it's 21 million. and you used 10. Is that correct?
Correct.
So which means we have 11 million left over for business continuity.
Correct.
Okay. So the 24 million that a airport is putting in, that was from the insurance proceeds.
Yes.
Okay. So that's for the stuff that you said that we need to do additionally. But
Correct. These are the
that's
certain things that these here, as I have them on the screen right now. All of these are projects that the airport is responsible for. These are not covered by any of the components of the financing that we're receiving.
okay. Understood. I have one more question. The construction all risk insurance. You there with me?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
When was this signed, and what was the time frame for that?
We signed this when we were doing package one, because we were at that point we were not we did not expect it to be as long as it is right now. We expected to start construction somewhere in 2018. Sorry, yeah, we started. We did the construction already when we were doing the roof. That's when we signed it. That was the first time, and we were expecting to go straight into the reconstruction at that point. But we still noticed we were having an issue with the insurance. We were having that arbitration that was drawing up longer than they expected. So we used that construction all risk for package one. We used it for package 1A, and we actually had to extend it because it was supposed to be for a period of 2 years. We actually had to extend it now to cover package two right now.
So basically, it's been for 4 years now. Then, so 2 years from before, and now additional 2 years. That's what you're
Correct.
saying.
And it's now extended till the end of. We need to do another extension out to extend it up to the end of the project.
And that, just for clarity, that money is going to come from the 24 million, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for your clarity.
No problem.
Morning, Mito. How you doing?
Morning, Carol.
I was a bit late. I missed some of it, so bear with me
If
if
you understand, just ask anyway.
I stand to be corrected. Okay, anyhow. Seeing that the facility is going to be outfitted with a lot of new equipment and of course new technology, is there a training budget available to train staff that going to be working with these systems? Or is that covered in other areas?
All of the components that you see there, all of the packages, should I say that? Let me go back to that particular slide. We have package two. Every time we're going to do a handover, and that was one of the things I was very happy with the strategic goals that was being set. We are going to have a training on the handover. All the handovers need to be well documented. Trainings need to be put in place, and persons who are going to be operating, as well as persons who will be maintaining that system, needs to go through the training. And that's one of the priorities that we have written in the contract with the general contractor, that those trainings need to happen. When it comes to the passenger board and bridges and the remainder of the equipment packages, that also will be the same. So we will be having trainings on each one of these components, operational as well as maintenance-wise, depending on the level of maintenance that we can carry out. Did that answer your question,
Okay,
Joe?
thank you.
Thanks.
Um, yes, but I was being more specific that if there was a training budget, how you say, put in place for that. to cover
No, the
those
training
costs.
budget comes out of the
Or if that
107.
was part of the buying. Okay.
The training budget is actually one part of the 107. The contractor is obliged, it's written in their contract, so whatever they bidded, they need to ensure that they train us on a handover.
Okay. Clear enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question?
I have one more question. Based on all these equipment packages, do you anticipate any overrun with regards to budget, being that we have bids between 70 and 99 million dollars? You mentioned we only have, if you go with the worst case, you only have about 8 million left, and I'm sure that 8 million cannot accomplish all 7 equipment packages. So what are the contingencies when it comes to that?
And that's one of the things that we had actually flagged with the supervisor. Well, I flagged it to the steering committee. The steering committee, which is our managing board at the time, they went and they flagged it to the COM, who was the one who gave us the loan, who went back and flagged it with the steering committee of the trust fund. And our PB was also brought up to speed that we had already anticipated that there's a good possibility that we would not have enough budget within the 107 to be able to cover everything. The discussions were being held, but I can't tell you how far they are at this point. This has to do with a lot on how the budget is going to be passed as well. And we know there's certain persons in the parliament that is not really for what's happening. So we need to see how that plays out.
Okay, fair enough. I also do not see which since you mentioned Parliament, I'm also not seeing anything about the pre-clearance portion that they really want to implement or want to have implemented. But I from the looks of it, I don't think we even have enough funding to get that done, because that takes a lot of money.
Correct. The pre-clearance is something that we have looked at. When, as part of the design, we also had Oregon also do a design to extend the building to include pre-clearance. If you look good, we actually chopped it up into 4 packages. We had package 1, which is the temporary situation we're working in right now. Package 2 would be going back into the footprint pre-IRMA. Package 3 would be the build out of the additional portion of the airport. And package 4 would be us furnishing it, where you actually put in the offices and everything. We're only at package 2 right now. Before we go over to package 3, which will be the building out of the pre-clearance, there's still some studies that need to be done, because we did have high-level discussions about the pre-clearance, but nothing was concrete. And the airport is not the one that makes that decision. This is something that is signed between government and government, between the government of St. Martin and the US will be the one signing this pre-clearance agreement, which the airport will have to execute.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Miguel, before I end, I will give you the opportunity to address the staff that came out. and let them know why we're doing this.
Yes, Maarten. Good morning, Maarten. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me well.
Very well.
Okay. Now, once again, Maarten, thank you very much for holding this presentation, as it is the idea of the organization to communicate as much as possible and have an open and transparent communication of what we are doing internally, so that we as employees, but also as managers, know what is going on internally before externally anything is communicated. Because as you know, it's always good to know where we're going and how to move forward as an organization. And if you do not know where we stand at this point in time concerning the project, you would not be able to, advocate or even have a normal discussion with anyone outside of the organization, or even with your employees or even your colleagues, about what is happening within PJIAE. So with that being said, HR, it promotes as much as possible that we improve our internal communication. And I can't stress enough to also share the news, not only what you heard today and keep it for yourself, but also to spread the news and share this news to your colleagues and to your employees. And if should it be, and I'm sure that Maarten will be more than willing to cooperate in that sense, should it be that you would like to have one of these presentations given within your organization, within your department as a work meeting, I'm sure that Maarten would be happy to provide extra information and assistance, and his team, of course, to inform employees what is happening with Sint Maarten Airport, why it took so long, what are the steps, and how we are going moving forward. So thank you, Maarten, for that, for assisting getting the internal communication to, across all levels. And I commend you for that. And I'm very happy to see a good turnout of employees and colleagues and managers. And I also would like to request you for the next time that we have such a session being held, that you also motivate those as well to join, and that we don't have 19 or 20 people, but the next time that we have 50 employees joining this session as well. So that's all I have to say in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, I gave you a quick highlight on the funding. As we mentioned in the beginning, this is a series of updates and presentations will be given to the staff on what's going on with the project. Last time I did the presentation, I also gave a timeline outline on why it took so long. We also will be doing these presentations, a public outreach campaign to the community of St. Maarten as well. So eventually there's going to be a Zoom Teams live link. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this as yet. But we will be sending out this link. We'll be inviting the community, or should I say the entire population of the island, to log in to also see a presentation similar to this. But we always wanted to make sure that the employees get this information before we go public with it. The links that we shared yesterday also give you a good impression on the timeline. It gives you the good impression of the project itself, as well as it also highlighted what the terminal is going to look like eventually. This today has been recorded, so those who were not able to join us today will be able to get the link from us probably by tomorrow, day after tomorrow. It should be ready for them to be able to also review this particular presentation. With that, again, I thank you for joining the discussion and wish you all a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Maarten.
Thank you, Mito.
Good job, Mito.
Well done, Mitchell.
Thank you. Bye.
Good day to all.
Thank you. Hasta la vista.